Hello once again, everyone. It's Joe from Feel Like Craps. I do feel like craps. I hope that you do too. Session number 2 of 3 on our Craps 101 Revamped. In session 1, we discussed the general dynamics of the game of craps, the standard, quote, game of craps, what is considered a game and when it's starting and stopping. And now we're going to go through some of the other bets that we can make, some of the other common bets that are made and the payouts for those bets in this session. We covered it in session 1, but we will also cover once again for review, the pass and don't pass, because they are the fundamentally the game centers around them. So follow that with a discussion of the field, some discussion on place bets, then the hard way prop or proposition bets, and then the C and the E, any crap bet, the 11 bet, and a horn bet. We'll discuss those bets as well. There also is a section on the board where you can bet on our buddy number 7. Again, we don't mention him at the craps table. We call him anything but 7. So just bear that in mind. We'll review here with the pass line and the don't pass. The pass line, or a light side player, if we got a bet on the pass line. On the come out roll, the first roll when the puck is off, the 7 or 11 is a winner. It's an automatic front line winner is what it's called, and that'll pay 1-1. A 2, 3, or a 12 on a come out. The craps numbers are automatic losses if we're on the pass line. We don't want to crap out on a come out roll, that's for sure. Any other box number that rolls on the come out will be the point. The puck will move to that number, and the shooter's goal is to roll that point number one more time before he rolls a 7. So the bet will win in that case and return 1-1. And if the 7 rolls before the point rolls, the bet loses, the casino takes it away, and you get to put it back up if you wish to continue betting the line. The summation here is you're betting with the players against the casino. And again, if you're shooting the dice, you gotta have a line bet. You cannot shoot the dice without having a pass line or a don't pass bet on the table. Speaking of the don't pass, or the dark side, we'll review him next. On the come out roll, a 7 or 11 will lose if you're playing the don't pass. The 2 or 3, the craps 2 or craps 3 is an automatic winner. That'll pay 1-1. The 12 is barred. Again, it's a push. If the 12 rolls, the bet doesn't win or lose. It stays where it is, and the next roll of the dice decide the tie. Again, any other box number that rolls becomes the point. And again, if we're on the don't, then the point is rolled before the 7 rolls. The bet will lose. The casino will take it away, but if the 7 rolls before the points rolled, this bet will win, and it will return 1-1. Again, summation, you're betting with the casino against the players on this particular bet. May not be a strategy of betting that earns you many friends at the craps table when you're getting paid when they're getting their shirts handed back to them on a 7, but if a table's cold and choppy, it might be to your advantage to go to the don't pass until the dice gods get sorted out what they need to get sorted out so they can allow some points to roll. Betting the field. The field is what's called a one-roll bet, and it's in the center just above the don't pass but below the come bar or the come area. What we mean by one roll is it gets one roll to be decided. It will be taken by the casino if it doesn't win. How does it win, you say? We'll discuss that in a minute. Remember that the field is always working. It cannot be turned off. If you have a bet in the field, that bet is subject to win or loss on the next roll of the dice. How does it win? It wins if the next number rolled is a number that's listed in the box. In other words, the 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11, or 12. If that number rolls and you have a bet in the field, you are going to get paid. All those numbers, if one of those numbers rolls, I should say. In general, it pays 1-1 for a win, but the 2 and the 12, you notice they're in the bubble, the little circles, and it says pays double on them, so you're going to get 2-1 if a 2 or 12 rolls. The cute little saying at the craps table is double in the bubble. So you 2 and 12 are in the bubble and you get double on them. Some casinos pay 3 to 1 on a 2 or 12. It depends on the casino you go to. The casino we use here for our craps strategies on this channel, Joe Casino, named after its proprietor, maintains a little bit of that advantage. It goes by a double, so we pay double for the 2 and the 12. But again, some casinos will pay triple on those numbers. Depends where you go. Place bet, betting a number. This bet, again, is in the dealer's work area, so we're going to put the bet in the come area with instructions to the dealer. So if we want to put a place bet on the 6, we say place the 6 and put our bet in the come. The dealer will move it just underneath the number, right in the general area where you see the payouts there, the odds payouts, and the yellow rectangle. The 4 and the 10 will pay 9 for every $5. The 5 and the 9 will pay $7 for every $5, and the 6 and the 8 are special. You get $7 for every $6 that you bet on a 6 or an 8. These bets may be increased, decreased, taken down, shut off, turned on, or put up at any time. And they follow the puck by convention unless you tell the dealer you don't want them to. You need if the puck is on and you want to shut them off, you have to tell the dealer. Same thing with the other way around. If the puck is off and you want them on and working, you need to tell the dealer so that they can mark your bets appropriately. They have lanyards that they can place on the bet, a little on or off lanyard that will tell them that, hey, that bet was working or that bet wasn't working if it's going counter the puck. Because you're getting paid for every $5 on a 4, 5, 9, and 10, it only makes sense that your bet should be divisible by 5. In other words, $5 increments. If you stray from that particular convention, the casino is going to round down your payment. They do not pay you in cents. They only pay you in whole dollars, and it is to their advantage to round down, so most casinos do. So advisable to bet in increments of 5 on those numbers. And our buddies, the 6 and the 8, they should be in $6 increments. So your red chips, your $5 chips, if you bet $5 on a 6 or 8, you got to put that little white chip, the dollar chip, on top of each one subsequent red chip that you put down to keep it even. So in craps, in the lingo, we call that capping the 6 and the 8. You always have to cap the bets. You have to put every one white chip for every red chip that you bet. And the same thing with a green chip, a $25 chip, that's 5 red chips, so we need 5 white chips for every red chip we have, and 5 white chips is equal to 1 red chip. So every green gets a red, and every red gets a white for the 6 and the 8 on a place bet. So handy little moniker there. If the number that you place bet rolls, then that bet wins at the odds that are listed under the number that we just went over. And again, the only way that these bets will lose is on a 7. Once they're placed, the only way they lose is on a 7. Next up is the hard ways. Betting the hard way bets. In the center, the prop bet area, you see the pair of 3s, the pair of 4s, the pair of 2s, the pair of 5s. Those are your hard way bets. Again, in the dealer's work area, so the bet gets put in the come area with instructions to the dealer. Example, $5 on the hard 6. They'll take your $5 bet and put it in that box with a pair of 6s. Again, these bets may be increased, decreased, taken down, shut off, turned on, or put up at any time. They follow the puck in most casinos unless you tell the dealer otherwise. Be careful with these bets, though, because some casinos will always work them, so you may need to shut them off or take them down if you don't want them working on a roll. So bear that in mind. Always ask the dealers if you're unsure. The hard 6 and the hard 8 will pay 9 to 1 should they roll and you have a bet on them, 9 for every $1 you bet. And the hard 4 and the hard 10 will pay 7 to 1 on a win. This bet can lose one of two ways. It can lose if an easy way combination rolls. In other words, for a hard 10, if you roll a 6-4 instead of a 5-5 for the dice combination, that's going to kill a bet on a hard 10. An easy 10 or a 6-4 10 or a 4-6 10, it's the only other ways you can roll it, will kill the bet on a hard 10. And the same goes with the other numbers. And of course, our buddy, number 7, if he rolls, he kills everything that's working on the board. If if it's not a don't bet, in most cases, or a lay bet, he will. Those bets will meet their end with a 7. So that's how that goes. The C and the E, any craps, are the 11 bet. You see the C and E bubbles there highlighted, as well as the picture of the 11. The dice combination 11 there, and the little box on the bottom that says 7 to 1 any craps. That's next up on the description list. In the dealer's work area, once again, the stick man is going to handle your prop bets, so he'll probably be the one to take them or to place them. You have to tell the dealer where you want it to go. Example, $5 any crap. They're going to take your red chip and they're going to put it either on one of the C bubbles or in the any craps section there on the bottom of the board. Again, these are one roll bets, so if they don't win on the next roll, they don't stick around. You don't get to play them again. The casino takes them if the roll you bet them on doesn't come through. The any crap or the C circles, they're bets that the next roll will be a craps number, and they pay 7 to 1 if a 2, 3, or 12 rolls on the next roll. Again, if a 2, 3, or 12 doesn't roll on the next roll, you're sunk. You're going to have to put the bet back up again if you want to bet it again. And the same goes with the E. The E with the circle around it. I could not find a way to get PowerPoint to give me an E with a circle around it, so I just enclosed it in parentheses. But the dealers can put a bet on an 11 in the little E circles or on the actual picture of the dice on the 11. Two ways to bet our buddy Yo, the Yo 11. And, if the 11 rolls on the next roll, you get a 15 to 1 payday. If it doesn't, you lose your bet and the casino takes it. Discussing the horn. The horn bet is in the dealer's work area again, so we put the bet in the come area with instructions to the dealer. Example, a $4 horn. They're going to take your 4 white chips and they're going to put them in that little horn bet section. This is a bet that the next roll of the dice will either be a 2, 3, 11, or 12. Notice how it's in between all of those numbers. The bet touches on each one. So again, this is a one roll bet. If it doesn't win, it doesn't stay. And you're going to lose a portion of a horn bet even on a win, and we'll discuss that in a minute. The bet is in $4 increments. It's $1 on each number. So if you bet $4, you're betting $1 on the 2, $1 on the 3, $1 on the 11, and $1 on the 12. You can bet the bet in $5 increments. For example, on a $5 increment, you get $1 on each number, and one of the numbers gets an extra dollar. So what you're doing is you're going high on a number. So they've come up with slang for that, and that's horn high. You're going to bet horn high and then tell them what number you want. Horn high aces, if you tell the dealer horn high aces and you put $5 down, the 2 is going to get that extra dollar. A horn high ace deuce, the 3 will get the extra dollar. A horn high yo, that'll get the 11 with the extra dollar. And a horn high midnight will give the box cars, the 12. It's just desserts with an extra dollar. A 2 or a 12 will pay 30 to 1. your bet portion of the bet that was on the 12 will pay 30 to 1. And you're going to lose the other 3 bets that you made. So you don't get the whole horn bet back. You're only going to get the portion of the bet that won. So bear that in mind as well. And a 3 or 11 will pay 15 to 1 minus the 3 bets that lost. And again, you get to keep only the portion of your initial bet that won. So if we had a $4 horn and we rolled a 2, we would lose the $3 number 1 that we lost, and we'd only get $1 of that $4 bet back, and then we'd get $30 for that $1. So you'd get, excuse me, $31 back. In that case, you're not going to get 34. You're going to get 30 for the dollar, and you only get to keep the $1 that you made. That you made the initial bet on. The other $3 are going to go away because the 3, 11, and 12 did not roll. So they lost again. One roll bet. 2, 3, 11, or 12. You can bet these numbers individually. You don't have to bet them on a horn bet. You can throw money on each individual one, and that individual per number bet that the 2, 3, 11, or 12 will be the next roll. Again, the next roll, it's a one roll bet. If it doesn't win, the casino gets to take it. And in this case, the 2 and 12 pay 30 to 1, and the 3 and the 11 pay 15 to 1, as they're listed on the layout. We have to discuss our any 7, as you see at the top of the prop bets. This is obviously a bet that any combination of a 7 will appear on the next roll. It's a one roll bet. Once again, if the 7 doesn't roll on the next roll of the dice, this bet goes away and is property of the casino. It only pays you 4 to 1 for a win at the true odds. Remember, we discussed true odds on a 7 is 5 to 1. So they're even taking a cut of that. My opinion here, don't be tricked. This is not the best bet on the layout. It is a one roll bet, and if the dice gods are not in a cold table or choppy table mood, and even if they're in a hot shooter type of a situation, probably best of you to avoid this bet because the casino can rack up quite a bit of money on that bet. They'll still end up collecting more from you than it will take to actually make a profit on that bet. So again, my opinion there, but it's not the best bet on the layout. But we had to cover it because it's on the board. All right, with the pass line, we shall discuss something called odds, pass line odds, and they are placed behind your line bet. So if you have an active pass line bet, there's a point. You can put money behind the line. In other words, you put money behind your bet once a point is established, and if the point rolls, you get paid true odds for whatever you put behind the line. So instead of getting a place bet sort of a win, you'll get what the number should truly pay you. And this can actually be pretty profitable, again, assuming you have favorable dice shooting conditions. A 4 or a 10 will pay you 2 to 1, the true odds. 5 to 9 will pay 3 for every 2. So again, you have to probably wise to bet by a number divisible by 2, in other words, an even number. And again, just a reminder here, our 5 and our 9 end in E. 5 also ends in E. So bear that in mind. The bets have to be even. An odds bet has to be an even number on a 5 or a 9. The 6 and the 8 will pay 6 to 5. So again, bet a number divisible by 5 if you're going behind the line on a 6 or an 8. The odds bets only lose if a 7's rolled, and they're not contract bets. So you can take them down. You can't take a pass line bet down once we have a point. but you can take an odds bet back at any time. But if you leave it out there and the roll occurs, the roll the bet is subject to whatever the combination of the dice number that rolls is. So you can take it down, increase it to certain limits. There are limits in most casinos on the amount of odds you can place on a pass line bet. We'll explain that soon. And you can also decrease odds bets as you wish. They're not contract bets. So here's a note on pass line odds bets. You see a little table over there. There is something called the 3x, 4x, 5x rule. And most casinos do have a limit on the amount that you can put in odds, and it's based on the amount of your pass line bet. Take a look at if the point's 4 or 10, 5, 9, 6, 8. The maximum allowed bet on odds at most casinos for a 4 and 10 will be 3 times whatever your pass line bet was. So if we use a $10 pass line bet example, the maximum odds you could bet if the 4 or the 10 were the point would be 3 times that line bet. So it would be a max of $30 using the $10 example. For the 5 and 9, 4 times your pass line bet. If we bet $10 on the pass line and a 5 or 9 is the point, you could bet up to $40 in odds if you have a $10 bet. You have a $20 bet, you can bet 80, so on and so forth. Whatever your pass line bet is times 4 is the max you can do, though. And on a 6 or 8, it's 5 times the line bet. So if you had $10 pass line on the 6 or 8 was the point, you can go up to $50 for an odds bet behind the line. Word to the wise again, don't get too fancy with the odds bets. Most times the casinos will step in to correct you if you're betting a bet that's not going to return even. So just remember, $6 for every 5 on the 6 and 8, so your odds bet has to be multiples of 5. We already discussed with the 5 and 9, they have to be even. And with the 4 and 10, it really doesn't matter. Bet what you want because it's based on every dollar. So you're going to get $2 back for every dollar you bet. So bet whatever you wish. Of course, within that 3 times limit. We can also put odds on our don't pass bet if we bet the don't pass instead of the pass line. This is called laying odds, and the odds bet is going to be placed. Notice you can't really go behind a bet on the pass line because if you do, you're going to be at the don't pass rather because you're going to be in the area of the pass line if you go behind it. So if you want odds on your don't pass bet, put them to the left, your left, the dealer's right of your initial don't pass bet. The maximum bet for laying odds is pretty standard across the board, and it's 6 times the initial don't pass bet. You can lay odds up to 6 times. So if we have a $10 bet, it doesn't matter what the point is. We can only go up to $60 for laying odds at most casinos. Some casinos, it's unlimited. Hey, they'll happily take your money on a point being rolled. If the 7 rolls before the point, you're going to be paid true lay odds for the bet. And basically, they're just the inverse of the pass line odds payouts. So the 4 and the 10, if you're laying odds, will return half of what you had down. You'll get 1 for every 2, so bet evenly, the even numbers. The 5 and 9 are 2 for every $3, so divisible by 3. And the 6 or 8, 5 for every 6, so your bet should be divisible by 6. Your lay odds bet divisible by 6. Laying odd bets obviously lose if a point is rolled. If the bet that they're going in odds on loses, they lose. Again, you can take this down, increase it to that maximum of 6 times your initial don't pass bet, or decrease as you wish for don't pass odds. And again, they're not contract bets, so you can take them down at any point as well before the next the next shot occurs, the next roll of the dice. We have discussed in the dealer's work area, when you want to place a bet, you put the bet in the come area. You can actually make a come bet. This section of the board can actually be used as a bet too. You just have to tell the dealer. Just make sure you specify that this bet is a come bet when you put it in the come bar and that you don't want it to go somewhere else in the dealer's work area. They'll leave it where it is. Just say $10 coming or a $10 come bet, something along those lines. Think of the come bet as essentially another pass line bet that starts a new game. However, it can only be bet after we've got an initial point. So the puck can't be off. If the puck is on, then you can throw a come bet out. You can also throw a don't come bet out as well. But for those two bars to be active, we have to have a point. There has to be an initial game. This is essentially a new game within that initial game. It's kind of a nested game, so to speak. The same conventions that apply to a pass line bet would apply to a come bet again, because we're essentially going on the pass line again. Think of it that way. We're going on the pass line in the middle of a game. The come is acting as the pass line. So a 7 or 11 wins on a pass line bet. It'll also win on a bet in the come. So the 2, 3, or 12 will lose, just like it would if we were on the pass line. When a box number is rolled and a come bet is on the board, the bet will go travel. It'll travel inside the number. They'll put it somewhere inside the number. Probably somewhere, like if to use the 5 as an example, they would put it somewhere in here. And that when that's placed in there, that becomes the new point, so to speak, for the new game that's happening within that game. The come bet, once it goes inside a number, is a contract bet. It's just like going on the pass line, so it can't be removed once it's inside the box. You can place odds on a come bet once it's inside the box, and the odds conventions are the same, just like they would be if you were going behind the pass line odds. So the 4 or the 10, make sure you bet whatever you want. You're going to get double whatever that odds bet is. The 5 and 9, 3 for 2. The 6 and 8, 6 for 5. So just like betting behind the line on a pass line bet. Should our shooter hit the point in the main game and the puck go back off, and we still have active come bets with odds on the board, the odds on come bets are turned off by convention, unless you say otherwise. Usually what will happen is once a point in the main game is hit, the dealers will take your odds bets down and give them back to you, unless you tell them you want them to stay. If they stay, they're working for that come out roll. Remember, those individual games that with the numbers and with the bets inside the numbers, they don't care about the puck. They're always going to be working regardless. They've got their own set of rules to deal with, and it's basically they're in the middle of a game when that initial game ends. So they're still active, they're still being played. You can't take those bets down. You can only take the odds bets down. And of course, our buddy number 7 at any point will clear the board of all come bets. Even if it's a come out roll and the puck is off, if you have active bets inside on the 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10, your come bets went to those numbers and a come out 7 rolls for another main game, all your come bets are going to go away in that case, because they are all subject to the 7 once they get placed. The don't come is next, the DC. We've made lots of references to him before. Now we're going to explain what actually happens. And again, we're going to make sure that this bet, that it's a don't come bet when you put it in the come bar, because again, it's in the dealer's work area, so the bet needs to be placed in the come bar initially, and you tell the dealer $10 DC, $10 don't come, whatever. and they will take the bet and place it in the don't come for you. And again, this is essentially a don't pass bet that starts a new game and can only be bet after the puck is on a number. The same rules apply to a don't pass bet that apply to a don't come bet. In other words, they on the next roll of the dice, a 7 or 11 will kill this bet. They would kill a don't pass on a first roll. This is essentially the don't come is a first roll in quotes of a new game. So 7 or 11 will kill it. 2 or 3 will return 1 to 1, and the 12 will be a bar or a push, as the layout indicates. When a box number is rolled and a don't come bet is on the board, the bet will travel behind the number. It'll travel to one of these little rectangles in the back. And it's called going behind the number. You can refuse this bet going to a number, like if you're in the don't come and a 6 rolls and you don't want your don't bet to go to the 6 or go behind the 6, you can tell the dealer no action or I don't want any action. Basically what they're going to do is they're going to leave your don't come bet right where it is for the next roll, or they're going to give it back to you, whichever one you want. You can refuse the number, a don't come going to a number if you don't want to. Just say, I don't want any action on that. Much the same as on the don't pass, if the number that the bet went behind rolls before the 7, you lose the bet. You're betting for the 7 in these cases, not the number. We don't want the number showing up before the 7 shows up. So if it does, you lose the bet. If the 7 shows, you get paid 1 to 1. What the bets will do, the dealers will take the bets and bring them back into the don't come bar at the end, and they'll pay each subsequent bet in the don't come. Just like with the come bar, if you go inside a number and the number rolls again before the 7 rolls, the bet has to come back down into the come to get paid. It can't stay up. In general rules, it can't stay up. It has to come down and get paid, and you get to take it back. It goes the don't come bets that resolve to a number go back into the don't come bar to get paid, and the come bets that resolve to a number come back into the come bar and get paid subsequently in the event of a win. You can lay odds on a don't come bet once it's resolved to a no, once it's in the rectangles in the back, just like you would a don't pass bet, and it follows the same payout rules. All right, folks, that's going to conclude session number 2. Session 3 is going to cover some exotic or more uncommon bets and payouts. Again, I'd like to thank you for checking the video out and for checking out the channel. Check out the other sessions in this particular series to learn more about the game of craps. Of course, the best way to learn is to watch the game being played. We have several strategy videos on this channel, so we encourage you to watch some of them. There are some other channels, YouTube channels as well, that you can watch. Lots of good YouTube craps creators out there who have all sorts. There's a wealth of information on the game of craps and different strategies to play, and some of them are very good. But check out some of the other craps channels as well. Feel Like Craps is not the only craps channel out there, so check them out. Lots of good content and lots of information to absorb on this game. Questions and comments, leave them as replies. I do check replies and do my best to respond to them, or to at least like them. And as always, like and subscribe for any content updates. Session 3 is coming up here soon, but we, of course, have our strategy videos. We try to put them out as frequently as we can, roll out some strategies for you so you get some ideas on different ways to play the game of craps. All right, folks, that's going to do it for session 2. Session 3 will be up shortly here. Just advance downward to the next session. And we'll see you then. This is Joe from Feel Like Craps. I always feel like craps. I hope that you do too. Until the next time, everybody be well, stay safe, and every trip to that casino, I hope those dice gods are forever in your favor.